Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 675. 675. January the 26th, 2019. Saturday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, so there's a lot of reaction today about Trump making his announcement that he's ending the government shutdown and laying out the next plan for how this is going to play itself out. And there's a lot of mixed reaction from people who support Trump. A lot of people are angry, and they think he caved again. And there are some people that think, okay, well, he's he's playing 4D chess. So, there's and everything in between. So, I guess my thoughts on this are just kind of like the State of the Union, where he essentially caved on State of the Union. I think that he's thought this thing through, and I think he's playing the long game. It's pretty obvious that both of these actions are losers in the short term. It looks like he caved on backing out of the State of the Union, and it looks like he caved on announcing he will reopen the government without any border wall funding. So these are obviously short-term losses. They look bad in the short term. But my guess is that he's playing the long game. And I don't know if that's 4D chess or what you want to call it, but I just think he's playing the long game. Obviously, he would not cave on both of these things just to cave. That's not really his style. Although he could be listening to Jared Kushner, which I hope he's not. And it appears that this deal here was not that big of a surprise because Lindsey Graham has been talking about this for a week. So I think that this was Lindsey Graham's deal, and he got Trump to go along with it. Because maybe Trump thought it through and thought, okay, it's better than where we are right now, which is complete stalemate because, I don't want to wait out the Democrats anymore, even though we have seen over the past 3 or 4 days many Democrats who have shown some interest in signing on to border wall funding to get the deal done and get the government open, sort of going against Pelosi. We've been seeing these defections over the past week, but I don't think it's happening quick enough to satisfy Trump. And I honestly believe he really does care about these people who are out of work, unlike Pelosi and Schumer, who don't care about these people. I think he really wants to just get these people back to work and get them paid and not go on and work on the problem in another way. Because he knows at the end of the day, he can declare a national emergency and get the funding. So, anyway, Trump's plan to reopen the government, which of course is actually Lindsey Graham's plan. We know that because it's exactly what we hear today is exactly what Graham was saying back this past Sunday. So his plan to reopen the government, it's Lindsey Graham's plan to reopen the government. Then Trump is going to give Congress till February the 15th to reach a deal that provides border wall funding. And if not, then Trump will use his presidential powers to build the wall. And it possibly could even trigger a return to the government shutdown. So I don't think that he would shut down the government. If he's already going to approve these spending bills for this CR, even though it's only 3 weeks, that to me is irrelevant. What, 3 weeks, 3 months, it doesn't matter. I don't think that's the big issue. Why he would shut down the government again and then declare a national emergency and go get the funding, I don't know why he would do that. I mean, if he's going to declare a national emergency and get the funding, there really is no need to shut down the government again. I wouldn't really understand why he would do that. So I can see where this can give him, again, on the long game. In the short game, we saw Pelosi and Schumer taking their victory lap today, all laughing and happy and smiling and dancing and high-fiving, and of course telling the media in their press conference that they hope that Trump learned his lesson. So they're gloating big time over this, which is generally not a good thing to do, because it's really not over. It's just it's one step. But they were gloating big time, and Trump, of course, knew that was going to be the case. So I think he's willing to take the short-term pain, just like on this idea where he agreed that he wouldn't do the State of the Union until this is over. And I guess he's making the calculation that once the government shutdown is over, Nancy will re-extend the invitation to come and deliver the State of the Union in the Capitol, and he is believing that in the next 3 weeks they will get a deal. I think Lindsey Graham's convinced him they will get a deal. I don't think they will, but Lindsey Graham convinced him they would. I think he's going to end up having to use the emergency powers in 3 weeks on February 15th because I don't think that there's going to be a deal. That's just my personal opinion. It's also my opinion that if he thought that Nancy Pelosi was going to play fair and allow him to welcome him to come to the Capitol to give the State of the Union on Tuesday night, or even any time in the next couple weeks, I think that there's a very good, at least 50-50 chance that that is not going to happen either. I would not be the least bit surprised if Nancy Pelosi says, well, you know, Mr. President, if you read my letter, I said that once the shutdown is over, you and I can discuss your coming to give the State of the Union, and we can agree on a date when you can do that. I can promise you she's not going to agree to let it go on as would normally be scheduled on this coming Tuesday. She's not going to agree to that, I don't think. I think what she's going to try to do is push it out for 3, 4, 5 weeks, at least till after the 15th of February. I think she wants to push it out beyond the 15th of February. And if you look at the schedule for this Congress, you'll see where they have laid out the path for his impeachment. So I think it's very likely that she could push this out for 3, 4 weeks, giving her enough time, and Democrats in the House, to advance their call for an impeachment vote. In which point she would then send the president a letter, even after promising him a date, and she would pull it back again and say, I'm sorry, I know we had a date set, but I have to pull the date back, and now I'm no longer welcoming you to come and do your State of the Union a couple weeks late. I'm not going to allow that anymore because now it appears that we're going to be moving toward impeachment. So we don't think it's a good idea for a president who's about to be impeached to be giving a State of the Union. So I think she's going to do everything she possibly can to prevent him from being able to give a State of the Union in the Capitol. I think that she'll pull out every single stop to do that. So I don't think he's going to win on that issue as much as he thought he would. I hope he does. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Pelosi re-extends the offer and he gives the State of the Union on Tuesday night, or maybe within the next week. But I would be very surprised that if she would do that, especially now that she's filling her oats because she thinks she just had 2 big victories. She may try to capitalize on that by simply, again, not giving him the date that he wants for the State of the Union, pushing it back several weeks until after the House can initiate their impeachment process. Not even the hearings, because they happen in the Senate, but just talking about calling a vote based on things that they believe that they found. They don't even have to have the evidence. They don't have to interview any of the witnesses or anything else. Just the narrative. The narrative of Trump impeachment will be what she will use to block him from giving a State of the Union. If she's really feeling up to it, that's about a 50-50 shot. So we'll have to see if she extends that offer to him to come and give his State of the Union speech on Tuesday night. I would not bet a penny on it. I hope it happens, but I wouldn't bet a penny on it. As far as the long game on the government shutdown, I can see where there is some additional leverage here, because now that he has opened the government, I guess in his mind, he will get credit for being the bigger man and saying, okay, I'm tired of seeing these people out of work. I'm going to be the bigger man. I'm going to come forward and say, let's reopen the government, get these people paid, and then we can argue about this. But you've got 3 weeks to give me what I want, or I'm going to do it by executive order. And so what that does is that gives him some leverage, because it takes the government shutdown off the table, which is what the Democrats have been using for their propaganda, to point out, because of Trump, these people are not getting paid. Because of Trump, all this bad stuff is happening. So now he's taken that completely away. So now it just comes down to just the issue on the policy. And so they're going to have to make an argument for why they will not provide the border wall funding, which of course they'll go back to their old talking point, which is it's immoral, it doesn't work, and all these other things, which most people know is not true. So Pelosi could possibly lose on that. But she would see it as a win with her base. Now, these freshman Democrats and Democrats in swing states and red states are not going to be very happy about that, but Nancy Pelosi doesn't care about them. She doesn't care about them. So we'll just have to see how this plays itself out, but I wouldn't put anything past Pelosi. I don't trust her as far as I can throw her. I know she does not want to see Trump. Remember, she's the Speaker of the House. She's going to be sitting to his left shoulder, behind him. I know that she doesn't want to have to sit there while he talks about all of his accomplishments, and then beats the Democrats up over the border, because he's going to lay out all the facts and all the evidence again, and they have to sit there and listen to it, along with millions of people around the world who watch the State of the Union. I know she doesn't want that, and she'll try to avoid that at any cost. She'll take great political risk to avoid that happening, which is why I think that she will come up with some sort of plot, some sort of plan, some sort of chicanery to make sure that Trump doesn't get to give his speech, especially this Tuesday, but probably even for several weeks after that. She'll battle him over the date. She will literally turn that into a crisis, a battle between her and Trump over when she's going to allow him to come and speak to the Congress and give the State of the Union. I think she's going to fight him over that hard. I don't think she's just going to roll over now and say, okay, you opened the government, so yeah, you can go ahead and come and give your speech Tuesday night. Nah, she's going to fight him on that as hard as she can and do everything she can to postpone it. Or, as I said, she is going to use the fact that he's currently being impeached, or there's a narrative that he's going to be impeached, or they're getting ready to have hearings that he's going to be impeached, and therefore he should wait again until after the impeachment vote before he gives the State of the Union. And she'll keep finding more and more things along the way so that she never really invites him to give his State of the Union. So I think she's going to fight him tooth and nail on the State of the Union. And I don't believe that Pelosi is going to sign on to a border wall funding in 3 weeks by February the 15th. Now, there could be enough defecting Democrats to force that, but she wouldn't be the one to do it. She'd probably have her deputy do it, Hoyer, who's said he wouldn't mind supporting some border wall funding. He has no problem with it. So that's going to be a little stickier wicket, because there are Democrats who are opposed to her hardline position. So who wins that fight, I don't know, but it won't be because of Trump. It'll be because of Democrats within her own ranks defecting that will force that issue. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. I think, again, like I said with the government shutdown, I think in the short term, I think it's a win for Pelosi. And as far as reopening the government, I think, again, it's a short-term win for Pelosi and Schumer. But I think Trump is playing the long game. And I think he believes that when it's all over, and because he's going to build the wall, one way or another, okay? In 3 weeks, he's either going to get the deal or he's going to declare a national emergency and do it that way. He's going to get his wall, okay? That's going to happen. Yes, of course, they will file a lawsuit with the Ninth Circuit the day after. The Supreme Court will hear the case within 30 to 45 days. Trump will win, and then he'll get the border wall funding. He'll build the wall. So that's how that would play out if it goes that route. And so I think it gives him a little more leverage, and it could also begin to look bad on Pelosi. If after opening up the government and getting off of that, if she plays him on the State of the Union and screws with him on that some more, that could begin to hurt her. But she doesn't care, because in her district she'll get reelected over and over and over and over and over and over again. She has no fear of losing her seat in Congress whatsoever. And she believes her base would energize the base. So she has certain incentives to play that game. Now, other Democrats, will get slaughtered, probably. It might even cost them losing the House, losing it back to the Republicans in 2020. But she doesn't really care about that either, because she'll probably, at that point, she would resign. She wouldn't go back to being the minority leader. She would just leave, having done all the damage she can do. So I can see the long game. On the government shutdown, the long game would be that Trump has softened his position. He's offered a fence instead of a wall. He's offered DACA benefits to DACA, giving them an additional 3 years. He's offered some other things that they want in the border security bill. If the Democrats don't come to the table and agree by the 15th, that could hurt Democrats. But again, Nancy Pelosi is bulletproof. You can't really hurt her. You can make her very unpopular, make a lot of people mad at her or whatever. But as far as threatening her power, she's been voted speaker, and it's hard to imagine that they would try to vote her out or give her a no confidence vote. That would be a major issue if that happened. I think it's highly unlikely. And again, she doesn't really care, about that. So her goal is to destroy Trump. And if it ends her career in the process, she's willing to do that. She's willing to end her career and go out on a low note if she can take Trump down, because she'll be viewed as a hero by the Democrats for eternity for doing so. She's willing to, because she knows her time is just about up anyway. So it's her last act of defiance before going down and going out, is to take Trump down with her. So that's kind of how I see this scenario playing out and what's going on. Roger Stone was SWAT raided this morning, as you all know. And of course, CNN was there, ready and waiting. They also had agitators lined up, geared up, and ready to go when he gave his press conference outside the courthouse. They were, of course, there heckling Stone while he was making his speech to the press. That was organized too. Now, the reporter from CNN says it was just a gut instinct, and that because they'd had some people watching this story, like everybody else, like every major news organization in the damn country watching this, and they said that they heard some things because of the grand jury on Thursday. Well, grand jury proceedings are supposed to be secret. But I don't know what things they would have heard that would have given them enough of an incentive to have the reporter get on a plane in New York and that night, the night before, so that he could be sitting right there waiting at 6 o'clock when the raid went down. And why, if the reason that they do a raid is because they say that there's a flight risk or a security issue. Well, if there's a flight risk or a security issue or something like that, and they have to come with all these guys with guns, then why did they allow the CNN reporter and his photographer to have such close access to film the whole thing? The very first thing they would have done when they've gotten there is they would have immediately moved back anyone and everyone around the scene. They would have told them to get in a car and get packed and get headed. They wouldn't allow them to even stay there to film it. They would have moved them back and away. But you can see how close they were, that they were given free access, and the cops didn't say a single word to them. Not a single cop came up to him and said, hey, what are you guys doing? You can't be doing this. You can't be filming this or whatever. You need to move. This is a security situation. Yeah, you need to get out of the way. Nope. They were given complete access. Somebody wanted to make sure that CNN was there to get it on film. They wanted to make sure that they got it. Live, going down. No way that was a gut instinct. They were definitely tipped off by somebody. Somebody tipped them off. I imagine at some point we'll find out who. I'm guessing Weissman. Now, for this reason, and many other reasons, I've determined that Uncle Bob the Executioner is now the biggest asshole on the planet. And as much as I want to see the Rotten Reverend Clinton and the dishonorable J. Edgar Comey and all the rest go down for their crimes, there is no one I want to see hanging from his nuts more than Uncle Bob the Executioner. This is one despicable son of a bitch. He is literally destroying lives. Destroying lives to cover up the crimes of his friends, some crimes he may have been involved in. And to continue the investigation to make sure it never ends, just like I told you. And do you think he's done with just Roger Stone? He's probably going to come back around to Michael Caputo. And when he runs out of those type of people, I wouldn't be surprised to see him SWAT raid Trump Jr. Maybe even Jared and Ivanka. How about SWAT raiding them as well? Don't put it past them. But this idea, Uncle Bob is just destroying people, and the reason he's doing it is sickening. Absolutely sickening. He is a complete a-hole. So Roger Stone is being charged with obstruction, witness tampering, and 5 counts of false statements. He's going to plead not guilty and fight the charges. There's a couple lawyers offering pro bono legal defense, and he's probably going to need that because Stone is not a wealthy man. He's probably modestly wealthy, comfortable, but he's not rich enough that he can spend, $5 million or $10 million on a legal defense. And all these guys, Manafort, Stone, they know that eventually Trump's going to pardon them. They know that. Now, Cohen is not going to get pardoned, but likely Manafort and Stone will be pardoned, if in fact Stone is even convicted. Probably Jerome Corsi as well, unless he composes a tune. Anyone who keeps their mouth shut, plays it straight, and doesn't compose a tune and lie will probably be pardoned by Trump. Those who don't will not. So, do you think that the theatrical SWAT raid of Roger Stone had anything to do with the recent revelations of Sally Moyer and General Counsel James Baker? Because, as I pointed out 2 days ago, it seems like every time we get a bombshell drop of information about the Spygate criminal conspiracy, some major event is made to happen by Uncle Bob and his good friend Rodenstein, who had to approve of it and the whole thing. I think there is a connection there. It's just happening too often that every time some major bombshell comes out about more evidence of Spygate criminal conspiracy, we get a major event to blow it off the front page of the paper, or blow it off the 24-hour news cycle. As you know, the corporate media didn't say a single word yesterday. Fox is the only station I'm aware of that covered it. I'm not aware of MSNBC, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, or anyone else even covering the unbelievable revelations of General Counsel Baker and Sally Moyer. Definitely got to be a connection. Well, Andrew Gillum, who ran for governor of Florida and lost to Ron DeSantis, the ethics committee that was investigating him has found that he did violate state ethics laws by accepting gifts of over $100 and some other things. The hearing, the transcripts are not out from the hearing yet, but I understand they will be. And so I guess most people are wondering what may happen to him, and the answer as far as what may happen to Andrew Gillum is basically nothing. He'll get a small fine, and that's basically it. Nothing will really happen to him. It appears that Lynn Wood is going to represent Nick Sandmann in his lawsuit. He's, of course, the kid from Covcath. And, of course, we know that Lynn Wood is a specialist attorney, a specialist in suing the media. And he's been very successful. He's won 3 major cases in suing the media. He won the case representing the parents of John Benet Ramsey. He won the case representing Gary Condit. And, of course, he won the big case of Richard Jewell. So this guy knows how to prosecute the media. And that's who's going to be representing Nick Sandmann. And now there's about a half a dozen attorneys representing Sandmann, other kids at the school itself. They got like a dream team put together. So Gary Barnes is on this as well. So there's going to be a lot of legal implications for a lot of these people. Which makes me wonder, should everyone, or could everyone who owns a MAGA hat, including yours truly, all of us who own MAGA hats, should we be able to get together and file a lawsuit against Alyssa Milano for saying that our MAGA hats are the same thing as KKK hoods? Well, we had Dana Bush, who's a reporter on the fake news network CNN, and she was on a panel with several other guests, and in her conversation there, she stated that many Democrats are getting, she's being told by many Democrats that they're getting pounded because Trump's message that the Democrats don't care about border security is starting to take hold. The looks on the faces of the other three panelists when she said that, they were not happy. They gave her the serious evil eye for bringing that up. They weren't very happy about that. But it's the truth. But it's, we've been hearing that for over a week now. In fact, I think there's like over 24 Democrats now in the House who say that Pelosi's playing this all wrong and they need to just fund the damn border, including the wall, and get it over with. And there's a few in the Senate as well. So there is a fractioning going on, but Pelosi still decides what bills come up to the floor for a vote. And so I don't know. I don't know what you do there, but anyway, yeah, the CNN commentator informing the other people on the panel that Democrats in a lot of these certain districts are starting to get the phone calls and the emails, and many of these are like the freshmen who just won in some tough districts, those Democrats in red states and swing states who are definitely feeling the heat. But Nancy Pelosi doesn't care about them, and they will soon find that out. Lindsey Graham talking about the fact that he's going to begin his investigation. He's going to get to the bottom of it. Well, I don't know if Lindsey Graham was paying attention the last 2 years. But Uncle Bob the Executioner and Rodenstein will block him from getting the documents and speaking to the witnesses that would help him find the truth or prove the truth. I don't know what makes Lindsey Graham think that his investigation, he's somehow going to be able to get Rodenstein to turn over the documents and let him interview the witnesses. Rodenstein's not going to cooperate at all on behalf of Uncle Bob. What Lindsey Graham should do immediately, based on recent revelations, is he should immediately ask to question Joe Pientka. He knows a lot of things. Joe Pientka. My guess is that if Lindsey Graham tells Rodenstein he wants to interview Pientka, Rodenstein is going to tell him to go pound sand. Will Barr allow Lindsey Graham to look at the documents and interview the witnesses? Or will he also cock-block Graham the way Rodenstein did to Nunes, Goodlatte, and Gowdy? Time will tell. Well, look who popped their head up out of the hole today. No shit Sherlock Christopher Wray. Another a-hole. So he comes out today, and he does this little, video, and he talks about, oh, I'm so angry. Everybody knows me. I'm pretty laid back. But boy, this has really got me angry. He says that that this government shutdown is mind-boggling, short-sighted, and unfair. And he's really angry. Yes, he's really angry while his FBI agents are conducting a SWAT raid on someone who is no flight risk and is no threat to security whatsoever. And before you do a SWAT raid, you're supposed to be able to show a judge that you need a SWAT raid because the person is either A, a flight risk, or B, could be a security issue. The person could be violent. Maybe they have a lot of guns. But Roger Stone doesn't have any guns. Doesn't even have a firearm permit. Nothing. No guns in his house at all. He's not even a flight risk. And that's obvious by the low bail. He didn't have to put up a single penny. Just his signature got him out of jail. And so the judge obviously doesn't feel that way. I think no shit Sherlock Christopher Wray should produce the evidence of what he gave to the judge to make the case to justify a SWAT raid. Because what would generally happen in this case is that you would contact the person's attorney and say, your boy needs to turn himself in tomorrow or we're going to come and get him. In which case, Stone would have showed up and turned himself in. And they know that. But they wanted a spectacle. They wanted a public spectacle with CNN filming the whole thing. Right on cue. No shit Sherlock Christopher Wray. He's really angry. Well, you know what, no shit Sherlock? I'm really angry with you, you asshole. You've been standing by and defending the most ungodly crimes, in fact, a palace coup, by the very people that work under you. And you know all about it, and you're not doing a damn thing. And you know what? No shit, Sherlock, I'm really angry with you, right along with many other people. And I hope that when it's all said and done, that you're nuts, right along with Uncle Bob the executioner, are in a box when this is all over. I would fire his ass immediately if I were Trump. Immediately. Ray would be gone so fast his head would spin if I were president. He'd be gone, gone, gone. Tom Fitton says that he's going to seek a FOIA request to uncover how CNN was tipped off on the Roger Stone raid. Yep. Tom Fitton and Judicial Watch, you can certainly count on them. That's about all you can count on right now. So Uncle Bob wants to figure out the Trump-Russia collusion thing, right? Now, he's just indicted Stone, which has a lot to do with things, apparently, that information that he knew what was going to happen. He had contact with Assange, even though there's no evidence of that. But if Uncle Bob was really concerned about that, then why hasn't he interviewed Julian Assange? Julian Assange has come out and stated that it wasn't the Russians. It wasn't a third party acting on behalf of the Russians at all. Had nothing to do with the Russians. It was no state actor. And Julian Assange would know. He's the publisher. How about Kim.com? Kim.com has tried on multiple occasions to make arrangements to be able to come to the States and speak openly to Congress and tell them everything he knows. And after all, it was Kim.com before anybody who came out in 2015 and said that Assange was going to be Hillary's biggest nightmare. Kim.com knew about this before anybody. Have they interviewed Kim.com? No, I'm thinking they haven't. Why? Because it wouldn't work for the narrative. And the entire Uncle Bob the Executioner investigation was based on the dossier, which we now know is a fraud, which is why he's got to cover up the evidence and control the evidence, which is why he's never going to end his investigation until Trump is gone. Pretty much it. So we just have to sit back and watch day by day by day as this thing plays itself out and hope to God that Trump does have some kind of a plan and that the long game pays off and that maybe Barr, once he's appointed, and I don't think that'll be until March, by which point they'll probably already have the impeachment hearings underway, in which case we'll find out if Barr is going to do anything or if he's going to be just like Rodenstein to protect his friends. Maybe Barr was brought in to be the Brutus. Maybe Barr was brought in to be the guy to deliver the final blow. Or maybe not. Maybe he's straight up and he'll look at the evidence and he'll start investigating these people and prosecuting them for their crimes. If lying under oath will get you in all this trouble, well, he's got a whole long list of people from Comey to Clapper to Brennan to Hillary to her friends. Even Comey admitted that that Hillary committed crimes. Comey admitted that some of her friends in that little interview with her, Cheryl Mills and Huma Abedin, gave misleading answers to questions. That's lying. So they seem to be able to lie and have no problems. So we certainly see a double standard. We'll see if Barr really does believe in equal justice under the law. We're going to find out very soon. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow with more TowerGate. See ya. Bye.